Before I start any of this, I just wanted you to know that while you're approaching this subject, the one thing that came to mind is that you are the story. You are the story. Yeah.
Did you get taller?
What?
You got taller.
Yeah, maybe. Sure. I like that.
Do you remember telling me stories around the dining room table when I was little?
Remind me.
When I was a little girl, my father told us the stories of Lebanon. The story of Ali Tawil, Ali the Tall, my great-grandfather, who at 6 years old crossed the sea in a barrel and later escaped a war camp they never taught me about in American schools. The story of Zakiya, my grandmother, who secretly saved the family from ruin. The story of my father's immigration, how it was the work of angels that had led us to the suburbs of America. As an adult, we sat down together to record these stories. I'm struck by how you are the keeper of these documents.
I was always interested in my family's history and my lineage, and I see that in you. That's exactly what you're doing.
He invited me to go with him to Lebanon and see the places I'd heard about in his stories.
إذا فيك توقف بيكون تمام. This is our house, sweetie. That's our building. Do you want to come down, sweetie?
Is it okay?
I think so.
Okay.
Just be as non-intrusive as you can. This is the original building. Wow. Wow. This is it. My father built this with his hands. And I was born on the 5th floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, on the 5th, up there high. And we used to play on it. I've done this about 5,000 times in my lifetime.
These buildings were destroyed during the war, but my father's joy proves the resilience of memory. Next, we went to see the place where my great-grandfather, Ali, lived.
Looks like a military stop. Let's take it from the other side. It'd be safer. They're gonna shoo us out of here if we did that.
You lead the way.
Don't film yet until I tell you. This is about where the takhshiba was. That's my grandfather's.
My great-grandfather stood 7 feet tall, had skin as black as night, and lived to be 109 years old.
His nickname was Ali the Tall. Ali Tawil or Ali the Black, Ali al-Aswad. Ali was a great storyteller. When we were kids, we used to beg him to tell us a story. And when it gets to be about him, we paid real attention.
I thought of my father's dining room table, where he told us the stories about this mythical man when I was a little girl. How far away that home felt from here. Ali had always been like an imaginary spring somewhere in the forest of my mind. But here, in the place where he lived, I was beginning to feel him as a real person.
Wow, we got away with murder. And to the right is the refinery. It's probably hasn't worked in about 30 years.
Was that devastating for the economy, for it to close down?
It's actually got devastated with the war that started about since 1972, 73. Yeah. We might even be able to see where the cemetery was. If we can.
Sometimes it feels as life is planned for you long before your arrival. And that's exactly how it felt at the last place we went, the place where Ali was buried. Do we not know where he is?
Have no idea. لا يسلم. الله يرحمك يا جدي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. You know, one of my bitter arguments and moments at that time is the fact they wouldn't bury him in a regular cemetery. We had to take him to the cemetery of Ghuraba, Jibbanat al-Ghuraba. Ghuraba means strangers. I hated that, but I didn't have a voice. And I didn't voice it. But it really doesn't matter. I was still sad that he didn't get the funeral he deserves, you know.
So I'm here in my house in Colorado, and as I've pored over the footage from Lebanon, I'm unable to get my great-grandfather's grave out of my mind. And there was one thing my father told me about the place where Ali lived.
His hut was right next to that sabil. Somebody that dies, their family will do in his honor or her honor a sabil, a running charity, sadaqa jariyah, That means it's water all the time for the taking. And normally when you drink from that water, you pray for that person.
And so tomorrow, I'm leaving for Lebanon to go and build a sabil for Ali. And this feels like an incredibly significant trip for me. This is the first time that I've gone to Lebanon without my dad. I don't know the culture and don't speak the language. I don't know how to build a sabil. So there's a lot of unknowns. I'm going to be traveling with my dad's wife, Hiem. Last year, while I was there, I met the women in her family, her sisters and sister-in-laws. I feel tremendous support from these women. I know that they will be by my side through this journey. Especially my 12-year-old cousin, Yara.
What prompted your to start in project?
When I came to Lebanon 5 months ago, my father wanted to show me
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
the grave of my great-grandfather. When I was a very little girl,
In the America?
my father would tell me stories. I made a picture in my mind of Ali. He was tall and great and beautiful and strong. But when we came to Lebanon, there's no grave. You understand?
Yes.
So I want to make a place to remember him, to honor
Ashraf.
Ali.
Ashraf.
The spring, sabil, what is it?
Naba.
Nama?
Naba.
Naba. The Naba
Yeah.
for Ali.
For Ali? Oh my God.
Now I want you to know the story of Ali the way I heard it when I was a little girl. He left behind no money, no earthly possessions, but he gave me something much deeper, something passed through the silent channels of our blood. Our inheritance is our stories about how to survive.
He had an air about him. He had a presence. He had a presence. Age and time and torture, it was evident in his body.
Ali was born on the island of Crete in the South Aegean Sea, and when he was 6 years old, he was orphaned and sent to the docks, where he and the other children were lifted into small boats and shipped to an orphanage in Turkey.
And that's when the Ottoman Empire used to recruit kids from the orphanage to raise them to serve in the palaces. And he was distinct, he was tall, so he was picked, and it was like an honor for him. When the Ottoman Empire fell, he was chased and imprisoned, and he was tortured in that camp. This is a story out of his mouth that part of the torture at one time, they boiled the grease and they lifted him up and sunk his butt in the grease. And I've seen the scars from that burn. The camp was on the seashore. One night he escaped.
I think of him, how every cell must have stung as the burns on his body touched the salty sea. 1,000 needles knitting him into the night as he courts the veil between life and sleep. And turning onto his back to look up at the bright holes in that great black fabric, the same stars in the sky I see. And finding his strength, his long arms pulling him towards the life through which we would all come. The next morning, he was found on the shores of Lebanon.
People referred to him as Ali Agha.
And what is that?
Agha is a stature. They were landowners.
But he didn't have a stature.
He carried a huge stature. People knew him, knew of him. He was like the neighborhood priest. Yeah, Ali Agha. He used to take us to the ocean. He was a great swimmer. He would be sitting in the water. He will literally sit like he's sitting on a chair. And he would be holding me on his lap with my head above water. I remember that very well. And I don't know how he stayed afloat, but he would do this with this hand, and that was enough to keep him afloat. His dignity, his respect. He was definitely a gentle giant.
So here I am. Day one. Wow, what a day. I asked my family to help me find the perfect site, and they knew of this spring. We went to see the Mukhtar, who's like the mayor of the town. He gave his blessing for the project to go forward. It's a place where people still go to get water. There were people there when we were there. Clean water from the mountain. But it's also in disarray. It needs a lot of care. There's trash all over. It needs to be cleaned. So tomorrow we'll see if we can start the cleanup process.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar,
Yeah. Aha!
Yeah. Big?
Yeah. And smaller.
Good?
You have big?
Yeah, big.
Ali was there for a lot of people. The people that they have nothing, he had a shelter for them. They came to him if they want to just sleep over or they want some food to eat. If it wasn't for his pain, he probably wouldn't have served the way he did. You know, when you're in pain, you turn around and you want to be a belligerent human being that want to hurt anybody and everybody. But how do you turn that pain into service? That's a tall order. Ali's last 2 or 3 years, bedridden. It was really a spiritual awakening for the whole family. He'd be sleeping there, almost in a fetal position, still breathing like a lump of bones and skin. The Quran addresses death, لا تدري نفس, that no one know or could know where and when and how the end is. But we're all going to be buried in the same place. It's called Earth. You know, he did what we expected. He expired. We were all there. We watched him, which we consider a great honor, to watch the body.
Our family has come a long way.
Sure has. That's why I said you are the story.